this is the main. So I don't know. Yeah. And then this one is where you switch it on from here.
You switch it on as well?
Yeah.
Oh, that I didn't do. Okay, so maybe you can do then this. Should we take a little table maybe?
Where are you going to sit?
I'll sit here.
Table and a chair?
Well, I just don't want to cause anyone in trouble. Chair's fine. But I can't find the thing to put the book on. Do you have a small table? Because even the guests on table is not here. Should we use one of those tables? Take a side table. Should we take a side? Sorry, there's no cartellers or anything. There's no cartellers or anything. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Cyrus. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhaktivedanta Manor. It's wonderful to have you here today. My role is to welcome you and to share the Bhagavad Gita with you. How many of you know the Bhagavad Gita? No? Have you heard of the Bhagavad Gita? You have. Well done. Great. So let me start with some singing, and I'll say the first sentence, and then please join in, if that's okay. Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Dari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janava Labha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana 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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radhama Jaya Yamuna Vanachari Jaya Gunja Bihari Jaya Gunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanchari Jaya Gunja Bihari Jaya Gunja Bihari Jaya Gunja Bihari Jaya Gunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Jaya Gunja Bihari. So, before we start reading the Bhagavad Gita, ladies and gentlemen, we start with an invocation, and that is that if I say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, that Lord Krishna has many names, and Vasudev is the name for our consciousness. So if we want to elevate our consciousness, Vasudev is the form of the Lord that we worship. So if I say the invocation, please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So just to set the scene for some of you who've not heard of the Bhagavad Gita or don't know of the Bhagavad Gita or you haven't read the Bhagavad Gita, and of course if you know the Bhagavad Gita, that's okay as well. The Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra 5,000 years ago. And what makes the Bhagavad Gita so distinct is that it doesn't say you have to be a Hindu, because the Bhagavad Gita is intrinsically about hearing the truth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we hear the truth, our body knows, our mind knows, and our heart knows the truth. Sometimes when we live a lie, or we know someone's telling us a lie, or we're living or having to do something that doesn't feel right for us, we know it's not the truth. And that's what the Bhagavad Gita is about, that the truth transcends whether you are a man or a woman or a child or your race, class, gender. And the amazing thing about the Bhagavad Gita is it's so relevant for us in our daily life. Whether you're a child, a man or a woman, a professional, whatever background you're from, the Bhagavad Gita will guide us. Now, the most famous person who read the Bhagavad Gita was Gandhiji. And when he was going through all the turmoils of freeing India and living by the truth, because remember, he promoted non-violence, and the power and the Shakti came from the Bhagavad Gita. It gave him the power and Shakti. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we all need that in our daily life, in the struggles that sometimes we face. We may all be experiencing good times, but we may also experience bad times. So today I'm going to be reading from Bhagavad Gita chapter 16 and verse 11 and 12. Now, chapter 16, ladies and gentlemen, is about divine and demoniac nature. Demoniac nature is when we experience within our life irreligion, falsity, bluffing, cheating, lying, lust, anger, greed, being cunning, hypocrisy, quarreling, harsh speech, doubt. What is the truth? Am I taking this right decision? So doubts will always haunt us. And fear, and ultimately fear of death, or fear of what will happen. Sometimes we experience so much fear that we don't know how to deal with it. Some people have panic attacks. Some people just sit in silent desperation. So the Bhagavad Gita is talking about divine and demoniac qualities. Then the divine qualities, ladies and gentlemen, are being loving, kind, despite whatever is going on, that we choose not to blame, that we choose to take responsibility. Whatever happens, we choose not to be a victim, because when we think about being a victim, we become powerless. We choose to not judge, because our senses are so limiting that sometimes we can even get it wrong. So Lord Krishna is talking about these qualities, divine and demoniac qualities. And in verse 15, verse 11 and 12, I will just read the Sanskrit. Chintam apiri meyam cha pralanyantam uparsrita kampa bhoga param etavad iti nishchita asha pasha satirbadha kama krodha parayana ehante kama bhogatram ayanerartha sayan achayam. Lord Krishna is saying, Lord Krishna is saying, they believe, so he's talking about general population, they believe that to gratify their senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of their life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds and thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. So Srila Prabhupada, who is sitting there behind you, is our guru, and he came to the West at the age of 70 when he was actually retired in Vrindavan because he wanted to share this message. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, and then I'll break it down after for you. Purport. The demoniac accept that the enjoyment of the senses is the ultimate goal of life. And this concept they maintain until death. They do not believe in life after death. And they do not believe that one takes on different bodies according to one's karma or activities in this world. Their plan for life is never finished. And they go on preparing plan after plan, all of which are never finished. They have, at the point of death, we have personal experience of people of such demoniac mentality who still don't give up at the point of death and request the physician to prolong their life for maybe another 4 years because his plans are not yet complete. Such foolish people do not know that a physician cannot prolong your life even for a moment. When the notice is there, there is no consideration of a man's desire. The laws of nature do not allow a second beyond what one is destined to enjoy. The demoniac person who has no faith in God or the supersoul within himself performs all kinds of sinful activities simply for sense gratification. He does not know that there is a witness sitting within the heart. The supersoul is observing the activities of an individual soul. As it is stated in the Upanishads, there are 2 birds sitting in one tree. One is acting and enjoying or suffering the fruits of the branches, and the other is witnessing. But one who is demoniac has no knowledge of Vedic scripture, nor has he any faith. Therefore, he feels free to do anything for sense enjoyment, regardless of the consequences. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnapastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Devim Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasta Desthane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Guru Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Well, thank you for being so patient, ladies and gentlemen, and listening so patiently. So, Srila Prabhupada is sharing with us that generally the mass of population, whether it's advertising, whether we're buying, whether we're procuring, it's all about, civilization is about acquisition. You know, I've got to get that car, I've got to get that house, I've got to get that designer wear, I've got to get that degree, I've got to get that position in a company. And these desires, ladies and gentlemen, they never go away. And actually, when we don't get what we need or want, we get frustrated. And when we get frustrated, we get angry. And when we get angry, we often just lose. You know, a classic example is at home. You know, you ask your child to do something. And when they're young, maybe they'll listen. But as they get into a little bit older, they'll say, you know, they'll ignore you. They'll pretend they can't hear you. Or they'll talk back. And then you get really frustrated because you think, how dare you? You're my child. I own you. You know, you have to listen to me. You have to do what I tell you. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just our relationship with our children. It's a relationship with our partners. It's relationship with our work, our social environment. You know, we are always hoping to do the right thing. You know, there's an English saying that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Sometimes we feel hurt because we think, I'm trying my best. You know, and why is it going so wrong? And usually it's because we want to get something, we want an outcome. And that outcome, if we don't get it, will frustrate us. And this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that the human need for desire never goes away. Now, in some ways, you know, we can say we're victimized by TV. We're victimized by advertising. You know, sometimes we see in the West women with, you know, their lips look grotesque, their face look grotesque, and yet they're spending thousands and thousands of pounds to have the perfect body, even men. But that comes from the human desire. that, you know, I need to have this perfect body, I need to have this perfect face, I need to have the perfect partner. And sometimes our relationships are based on how good we look, then we're lovable. Otherwise, we don't feel that we're lovable. So, Srila Prabhupada wants us to know that when our desires are not met, the anxieties are immeasurable. I don't know about you, but sometimes, you know, I'll sit on judicial hearings and you'll get two sides where there's conflict, and both sides are really attached to their outcome. And they get so distressed and so upset and so hurt because they think that when I get that outcome, I'll be happy. And that's what we think, don't we? When I buy this, I'll be happy. If I get a bigger house, I'll be happy. If I get a pay rise, I'll be happy. But it's actually, having been through it myself as well, because, you know, when you're in a young family and you're trying to work and pay the bills, it helps. It helps to just say, okay, I can have a little bit. But actually what Srila Prabhupada is telling us here is to know when to stop. That actually, whatever is meant to come to us, that comes to us effortlessly and easy, we should know that that's our allotted, what is allotted to us. So, Srila Prabhupada says we're bound by hundreds and thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger. He goes on to say that the demoniac secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. He said that we might have met people like that also, who it's okay to cheat the benefit system, or it's okay to lie and acquire more money. It's okay to just say a little white lie, because after all, it doesn't matter. Nobody will know. But of course, the Lord who's situated within our heart, the Paramatma, He's the witness. But there are other witnesses, the wind, the sun, the air. So, as I shared with you earlier, what does Srila Prabhupada mean by the demoniac? You know, we have natures within us that sometimes they're in conflict because we think that if I'm too nice and I'm too kind, then people will take advantage of me. So I need to be a bit cunning. I need to be a bit smart. I need to be, maybe I need to bluff my way. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that, you know, the demoniac tendencies are within all of us. That's why we are here in the material world. And it's because of our desires and our demoniac tendencies that we suffer. As I said to you earlier, it starts with irreligion. If we don't follow a faith and a path, then there's chaos in society. Now, some of you are parents, and I can see there are children in the room. And one of the most impactful things I would say to you as a mother and as a teacher is that we raise our children and we want them to be good, we want them to listen well, we want them to go to school, we want them to study hard, we want them to have a good future. But do we actually spend time telling them about the most important education, which is also soul education? We need a material education, it's absolutely critical, but we also need a spiritual education that tells us who we are. Because when we are confused about our identity, ladies and gentlemen, we will feel like we don't belong, we don't know who we are. Sometimes we'll feel, I've lived my whole life and I've lived a lie because I've done my duty. I've done what my parents told me. I studied. I went to university, I got a good job, I got married, I had children, my parents wanted that for me. But actually, there's a more important education, and that is about the soul education. That Lord Krishna tells us in the Bhagavad Gita that who we are, the eternal aspect of us, never dies. It's unborn, it lives forever, and it can't be broken or cut or killed. Even in the body, when we take a last breath, the body is just like a machine. We live in different machines. In this lifetime, we're in a human form of life. Who knows in our past lifetimes what body we've had, whether it's an animal or something that's moving, something that's not moving. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Our desires are not just from this life. Our desires come from many, many lifetimes. And they're so entrenched within us that the only solution is to, what my mother used to say, and I didn't really understand that before, is Santoshi Sadasukhi. That if you really want to be happy, don't go chasing sometimes the things that will frustrate you, that will take so much energy out of you, that will take you away from your family, that won't give you time with your young children. Remember, children often, when they grow up as adults, they'll say, I didn't want that expensive thing. What I really wanted was my parents, and I wanted their attention. So, and when we say attention, we're talking about good attention. We're talking about siksha, that actually, if our children don't understand that they're a spirit soul, they will be absolutely absorbed that they're the body. And of course, if we spend so much time nourishing the body, our soul is also that side of us that is almost malnourished. It's so hungry and it's so weak. But when we do sadhana, we take a little bit of time to pray, to chant, to take time to have a spiritual activity, then we understand that maybe we shouldn't always take the drama of this life so seriously, trying to get everything right so seriously. Srila Prabhupada also says that the desires don't go even till the end of life. I don't know if you've ever come across anybody who's passing away. Sometimes they have to be told, it's okay. You can go. Your family will be all right. Your wife will be okay. Your children will be okay. Because they're hanging on because they're in anxiety. But ladies and gentlemen, we've had so many lifetimes. We've had so many wives. We've had so many husbands, so many mothers, so many fathers. But our ultimate father is the Supreme Lord, Lord Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says, because they don't understand life after life, life and death, life and death, life and death, they take on different bodies because they don't understand that it's because of their activities. You are such a wonderful audience. In a little while, I'm going to stop and then maybe we can have a discussion and maybe we can have some questions as well. So Prabhupada says your plans are never finished. I don't know about you, but I was thinking, okay, well, I've had my education, I'm a teacher, then I'm a head teacher, then I'll be an academic fellow at Oxford, and then I'll do something else, and then I'll, and one thing after the other, after the other. But actually, when you get to your 50s, there's sometimes we think, oh, well, you know what, I'll do it when I retire. But actually, we need to start practicing from a young age when to call it a day. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we'll always be working. We'll always be needing to earn. but to adjust our life in a way that to trust that you will always have enough. Sometimes we're judged by what we have. We're judged by society, and if you are around people who will judge you for what you have, don't believe that lie. Just don't believe that lie. Sometimes we have to put up with people. They love us if we have something. They love us if we have position, power, money. Even in close relationships, even husband and wife. Until you're handsome or beautiful, you're loved. But don't believe that lie, because those desires are just, they're hallucinatory. Our real goal is to be able to engage with each other, to live peacefully, to live lovingly, to try and understand. My son always tells me, Mother, you need to have better communication, because I still do that thing where I'm the mother and I'm in charge and you're going to do what I tell you. So, children don't buy that anymore. They'll say, well, we need to have a conversation. You need to be able to explain that. And actually, life is so much more simpler, because people, whether it's in your family relationships or other relationships, people cannot read our mind. But actually, we can make such a difference in all our relationships if we start working with ourselves. We do the whole world a favor. Often, we're so busy wanting the other person to be perfect. We see the faults of another person, but we don't see our own faults. And here, Srila Prabhupada is saying one of the things that we need to be really self-aware is about our desires. Because the desires just never go away. So sometimes we can change our desires, swap them. And the devotees of the Lord always swap their desires to, instead of wanting something, we pray to the Lord that I want to take shelter of you. Instead of acquiring something, we ask the Lord, please help me to be your devotee. Please help me to understand so I can get deep peace of understanding of who I am. So Srila Prabhupada says, we have personal experiences of people who never stop desiring, who never, even in families, if you have a family business, sometimes when the push comes to shove, one person will cheat the other. Because that's the nature of this world. Or we won't love people because they don't give us what we want. Srila Prabhupada says he calls these people foolish because they don't know that a physician cannot prolong their life even for a moment. Now, I often share this story, so if you've heard this story, please forgive me, but I will repeat it. Alexander the Great, he was from Macedonia, and he was a conqueror, and he conquered so many lands and so many continents, and he was so powerful. He'd acquired riches, everything the world could ask for. And then he went to India, and there in India he met some ministers who guided him. And before he died, he said that he wanted his coffin or whatever they carry him in, he wanted the physicians to carry him. Because he said that, so yes, he wanted physicians to carry him. He wanted to be dressed in white, and he wanted all his riches to be given away. And his realization after conquering, killing, making others submissive, all that violence, his conclusion was that actually, why did I do all this? Because, the surgeons, the doctors, they couldn't save my life. That when I died, I couldn't take my armor and everything with me. That when I died, I wouldn't be able to take all those riches that I plundered other countries for. So what do we take with us, ladies and gentlemen? We take our desires with us, because when the body dies, there's another body. There's a subtle body. It's like a ghost body. With that, we carry our desires, our intelligence, our false ego, the ego that thinks, I'm this body, I'm this person. Don't you know who I am? Sort of thing. But actually, our lifetime after lifetime, we're carrying this heavy baggage, and we don't realize that we're carrying this karmic baggage. Because we think, I only remember this lifetime. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, I know so many of your lifetimes. You don't remember them. And do you know why we wouldn't remember them, ladies and gentlemen? Because we have no idea what we've done in our past life. But somehow or another, through mercy, that we have this human form of life, that this is the life that we can actually ask ourselves some questions. Who am I? Why am I here? And you know, we want to lighten, not just about letting go and not getting too attached to having material things which we can't take with us, because when we die, somebody else is going to use them. Somebody else is going to use the money, the hard-earned money. You know, we worry about leaving things behind because others might not be able to cope. But actually, the biggest wealth we can have and give our children is to understand that we're a spirit soul, and everything we do, we are accountable for. So Lord Krishna is saying that when you take shelter of his lotus feet, and how do we do that? We pray, we read Bhagavad Gita. It purifies our consciousness. That when we're watching TV, all we're being drummed within us is dysfunctional relationships. Isn't that what's on TV? And we love it because it's sensationalist. You know, it's happening out there and it's not happening here. But our mind and our brain, ladies and gentlemen, is being programmed. So I remember my children, we didn't have a TV when they were young. And when they became teenagers, they would say, well, everybody's watching Homer Simpson, you know, we never get to watch it. But now they're adults. They often say, it was really great, Mum, you know, that we didn't watch too much telly because, you know, we've got so much valuable time that we often spend, you know, we think we are relaxing. Let's put the telly on, let's relax. But what we're watching is drama and cheating and lying and cunning. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, we start thinking it's normal. So what I would say to you is maybe consider switching the telly off. Maybe consider sitting together with the family. Maybe consider eating together, reading together. Wouldn't it be lovely, instead of getting the children to read, that you read to them? Read to them a Krishna book. Read a little bit of Bhagavad Gita and have a conversation. One thing I will tell you is that if you start reading the Bhagavad Gita with your family, even yourself, cognition, you know, how your mind works, your brain works, it will become a lot more solid. So something to think about. Srila Prabhupada says when the notice for us to die comes, we don't have a second more. We can't pay anybody to keep us in this world. So he's also telling us that don't fear death, because death is just, we're immortal. Death is just leaving one body and moving to another. So we choose our destination. We choose where we're going. And by reading the Bhagavad Gita, maybe you will understand about how important it is that we've got valuable time. Don't waste this time. Srila Prabhupada finally says that the spirit soul, we were with the Lord originally in the spiritual world, but because of our desires to be independent, to try and enjoy independent of the Lord, we've come down. But the Lord is so kind, He comes with us. He travels with us in our body, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. But he describes two birds. One bird is eating, that's us, our desires, our acquisitions, more, 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 more. Or suffering, the pain, the hurt, the trauma. And then the other bird is the Lord within the heart, just waiting for us to turn to him. Srila Prabhupada says the demoniac have no knowledge. You know, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that when you look at other faiths, almost every Muslim child knows the Quran. They even know the Arabic. When many Christian children know their Bible. But if we don't invest time in reading the Bhagavad Gita ourselves and for our children, which is the highest philosophy, and it's not a philosophy that says I'm a Hindu, it's a philosophy that speaks the truth for every human being. You know, sometimes we send our children to Gujarati classes or some other classes. But you know, please just invest that little bit of time because your children will thank you. They'll thank you that they've been accessing another aspect of their identity. If we don't understand our spiritual identity, we've lost a big chunk of who we are already. We're already living a lie. So, finally, just to summarize, ladies and gentlemen, the Bhagavad Gita and Srila Prabhupada describe who is demoniac. They are immoral until death. They're desiring all the time. They want what's next, what's next, what's next. I don't know about you, but sometimes we really want something and it's so important to us. I know for me, when I went to school, I didn't do so well at school. And I think some of it was to do with, oh, you're a girl, you're an Asian, you'll just get married, and what's the point? But later on, you know, through my mother and my husband's support, I was able to get a degree and enter education, and then further on do another degree. And then eventually, what I really wanted was, or aspired for, was to be academic. Because sometimes our childhood wounds, you know, when somebody tells us, oh, you're stupid, you don't understand, you know, we get angry. This is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. We get lusty and angry, and we think, I'm going to show you. And I remember when I got my fellowship at Oxford, I actually thought, you know, it was the pinnacle of academia, and I thought something was going to change. You know, the heavens were going to open up, and I was going to be happy, and it was all going to be wonderful. And sometimes it happens like that, doesn't it? When we think, I really want this house, or I really want this car, or I really want this job. And then when we get it, it's so flat. Because you think, do you know what, I'm still feeling like the way I'm feeling. We have guests who come and they've wanted that Lamborghini or they've wanted that mansion, and they buy it. And then they go, oh, it's so flat. Because actually what we're looking for is love and connection. We're looking for within ourselves, but we're always looking outside, that something outside will make me happy. So time is running out, Srila Prabhupada is saying, for all of us. We don't know when we're going to leave this world, but we don't want to leave desiring and unfulfilled, and we don't want to leave feeling confused about death, the fear of death. So finally, put faith in the Lord. Take time to read the Bhagavad Gita. Take time to visit the website. We do lots of courses. We have sanghas where you can meet people in the local area. And take time to connect to the Lord within your heart, because everything you need to know will come from within, and through the books, and by associating with other devotees. You've been such a wonderful audience, and you've been so silent and so, I don't know what to say, but you know, my pranams to all of you. So before Aarti at 7 o'clock, has anyone got any questions? And remember, no question's a bad question, you know, because whatever you're thinking, somebody else is thinking also. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you very much for a wonderful class. It was really nice. I came a bit late, but it was amazing. Just have a question. Obviously, we hear this philosophy all the time. We shouldn't be attached to this. We shouldn't be attached to this. We should try and pray to Krishna all the time. Let me go, please keep me under your shelter. But somehow the Maya materialism is so powerful. It just tries to drag you away
Yeah,
with the family attachment, with your work or your colleagues or any attachments.
yeah,
It's normal for human beings to get dragged away. You know, it's nice we follow the sadhana, we keep chanting the rounds and do service to
yeah,
Krishna. But still, there's a time where we kind of. It's amazing what Bhaktivedanta Manor was saying this morning that we should always, even though we don't feel enthusiastic, we should feel like yes, I'm enthusiastic. You know, we should act like I'm enthusiastic.
yeah,
But it does happen sometimes that this Maya drags you away from certain things that it highly likely that it happens any time. You know, it's just not like one day you're feeling amazing chanting the round of mates, like you can do 24, 64 rounds, you think. So other day you don't even feel like doing 6 rounds, feeling like that. So
yeah.
this is kind of normal. So how do we kind of balance it out?
Okay, so wonderful question, sir. So, you know, we all have some kind of spiritual practice that you're probably undertaking. So this question is relevant to everyone in the room. The main thing, sir, is Srila Prabhupada tells us that, you know, think about your day. Think about how you break down your day. The first thing is, are you getting up early? And that starts with the night before. You know, are we getting good sleep? Remember, we talked about not too much media at nighttime or TV. So it's that good preparation because, you know, when the mind and the body are rested, then we can think clearly, we can make time. I mean, I'm always rushing. So I remember, you know, this morning my son said to me, Mother, I'm not listening to you anymore. You know, I've had enough telling you, you must have juice in the morning. Because, you know, this aches and that aches. And then, you know, you get cranky because you're not eating or you're not looking after yourself. Every mother knows what I'm saying. And so it's about using your time carefully. Then the other thing, sir, is that we think that by doing our mara and by reading, everything will be all right. But actually, we have to do inner excavation. And that here, Srila Prabhupada said, lust and anger, that comes from desires. You know, we can get angry so quickly, we can flip out so quickly. We can even see on TV right now, you know, even with royalty, that, you know, because it's our desires, things don't go our way. So start looking at in your life where things aren't going the way you want them, and maybe just step back a bit and say, I can't control this and I can't control this person, but what I can do is control myself. So you have to have a spiritual practice, but you have to notice your own inner challenges. And sometimes when people tell us what's wrong with us, we don't like it. But actually what we need to be able to do is do a deep inner excavation. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, when we face the truth of our limitations, you know, somehow we're freed. So then we say, okay, I'm going to work on my desires. I'm going to work on... I mean, I used to have this fear that I'm not going to have enough money. I need to work, and I've got a good career, and no matter how much I earned, there's something that you always feel you don't have enough. So there's a point that you know, actually, that's my issue. Because, you know, consciousness, I realize that whether you are just a normal person or whether you are a millionaire or I've met even billionaires, if your mindset is, I don't have enough, you'll never have enough. And this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. So take time to look within your heart and really face the truth of, where am I getting angry? You know, we get angry because we think it's somebody's fault. You know, we get frustrated in life. We sometimes tell ourselves lies. So it's really having that deep inner excavation? Great question. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Mother.
You mentioned about switching the television off
Yeah.
and reading some scriptures or books or something with their children or family. So what would be your recommendation in terms of how to start?
Okay. So during COVID, and COVID time, yeah, so this is what happened to me during COVID. We all had to face each other in the house, because it was, people's schedules were going in and out and things like that. And all of a sudden, you're faced with these adults or children in the house. So one of the things we started to do is just, if we could, find time. It could be right in the evening. It could be at the weekend, where there's some sacrosanct time with the family. And we started with a small book. There are so many books you can go into, the bookshop and have a look. And Srila Prabhupada's written great books like Krishna, the stories of Lord Krishna. So they were great because everyone sat and they took it in turns to do the reading. And, sometimes we were triggered because when one person reads a bit slow or they make mistakes, you get frustrated and you want to correct them. But what we did was at the end of the reading, we said what we were really grateful for each other. So start with gratitude for the people around you. So try and build that loving relationship so you're not triggered by each other. And start with a small book. Because, when you start with a small book, everyone sees the end is in sight. And the small books are so great because they summarize everything for you. So, and of course, have a go at reading the Bhagavad Gita. One chapter a day. You just do the verses and then one purport. But whatever you do, we've got a whole lifetime, ladies and gentlemen. Do some reading because the reading will uplift your consciousness. And like you said, I'm not saying don't watch telly, but we sometimes do it to de-stress, and all we're switching on is watching conflict and anger and all the things that are wrong in the world. But actually what we're starving for within our own heart is to have the knowledge that will give us peace and to be with ourselves or with our families. And if we don't invest that time, we won't be able to have a relationship with ourselves or others. So start with a small book. Great question. Thank you. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen? What about the children? Do the children have a question? How many, so let me tell you a little bit then, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you come to the temple regularly? Great, great. How many have you visited the website? Great. So the website will tell you about classes, it will tell you about courses, it will tell you about local reading groups. You could also join a sangha in your local area where you meet like-minded people. And children, because I remember my mother used to say, "Apro sange orang," So think about changing or adding different people within your life that enhance your spirituality. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to ask you to do is, in a minute, when you hear the conch blowing, it will be the sign to get up. But what I will say to you, ladies and gentlemen, is don't stop coming to the temple. Please make it part of your regular life, whether it's a Saturday or Sunday. Do it more often. You'll meet wonderful people. We have chanting, we have kirtan, and you just want to nourish yourself in that way. And those of you who've not had a Bhagavad Gita, please go and get one or join a course, and I'm sure you'll find it riveting. I'm going to allow you to just sit quietly for a moment until the conch blows. When it blows, ladies and gentlemen, please stand up. Oh, Hare Krishna. Thank you to all of you for being such a wonderful audience. I take the dust of your feet. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to do a small shuffle around. We ask all the ladies to go on this side, all the men to come on this side, please. Thank you very much. Eva Jayo, Jayo, Gora Chande. Arati Kasoba, Eva Jayo, Jayo, Gora Chande. Eva Jayo, Jayo, Gora Chande. Arati Kasoba, Eva Jayo, Jayo, Gora Chande. Arati Kasoba, Jana Vitata Mane, Jagamana Lova. Jagamana Lova, Chatra Okay, so I have one request. We understand these verses may not be easy to follow, but we ask everyone to please raise your hand nicely. Everybody, please raise your hand nicely. Everyone knows Haribol, okay? Netai Gaura Haribol! 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 Netai Gaura Haribol! Netai Gaura! Netai Gaura Haribol! 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 Netai Gaura Haribol! Netai Gaura! Haribol, Netai Gaura, Haribol, 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 Netai Gaura, Haribol, Netai Gaura, Haribol, Haribol, Netai Gaura, Haribol. Thank you very much. So we are on verse number 7 now, called Bahu Koti. Bahu Koti Chandra Jene Vadana Ujwa. No, please don't sing together, you follow, okay? Baho Kote Chandra Jene Vadana Ujwala Baho Kote Chandra Jene Vadana Ujwala Gala Dese Mana Mala Kore Jana Mala Gala Dese Mana Mala Okay, so this concludes this Gaurarti. So we sing the Maha Mantra and the Panchatattva Mantra. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauramani Pracharine Nirviteta Sunyavadi Bhaktivedanta Satarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauramani Pracharine Nirviteta Sunyavadi Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Everyone sing Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Okay, we want everybody, please raise your hand one more time. Well, everyone sing together, please. Everyone together now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Well, everyone loudly. We have come to see Shishi Radha Gokulananda Sita Ram Lakshmana Hanuman all the way from our home. So let's make the most out of our visit by chanting as loudly as you can. Everyone raise your hand please, nicely, as loudly, let's together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Sitaram Lakshmana Mahajaya Sitaram Mahajaya Sitaram Lakshmana Mahajaya Sitaram Lakshmana Mahajaya Sitaram Mahajaya Gauranitai 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 Shishi Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Shishi Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Namaste Narasingahaya Namaste Narasingahaya Namaste Hey,
विनाशक नशिकदेव भगवान के जय प्रहलाद महाराज के श्रील प्रभुपाद के जय ओम विश्वपाद ब्रह्मचार्य स्तुत्रस्त शिशिमाद His Divine Grace AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ke jay om Vishwapad Brahmacharya Stotrasta Shishimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj Goswami Srila Prabhupada ke His Confounder Vidifounder Srila Prabhupada ke Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ke Anand Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ke Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ke Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ke Gangamai Yamanamai Ke Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani Ke Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ke Shri the most merciful worship Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagavan Ke Shri Shri Radha Landaneshwar Bhagavan Ke Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Ke Jagannath Baldev Sudha Maharani Ke Shri Shri Gaunitai Giri Govardhan Ke Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution Ke Srila Prabhupada Festival Ke Shri Gaura Kirtan Ke Janitai Go Premanande. Oh glories to the assembled devotees. Oh glories to the assembled devotees. Oh glories to the assembled devotees. Oh glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Guru Gaura Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ke Jai. Well done, Prabhu. Well done. Yeah, I'm from London Temple. Yeah.
Alright, okay. So, because of the
Program here is
you're there tomorrow and
tomorrow I won't be at Temple. No, I won't be here now. No, I'm going tomorrow. Wait here. I'll be there next week again. You going to London Temple tomorrow?
no, I have to be here.
You coming here tomorrow? No, I won't be here tomorrow. No. Tomorrow, no. We will be here next week again. Yeah. I wish I had. Thank you very much.